My dad just decided he's not going to pay for my wedding anymore. What I'm finding out is if you let your parent pay for your wedding, you kind of have to do it their way. I finally told my parents, I'm going to do this my way, and they backed out of paying for it. So let me tell you what happened. I have to give credit where credit is due. My parents raised me to be an independent thinker, and as an independent thinker, I've decided we're not going to do every single wedding tradition at my wedding. And that's where the fight comes in with my dad. It's the year 2023. Women are not property anymore, which is why I decided I will be walking myself down the aisle. My parents do not own me, and I'm not some property to be given away. My dad was not very happy to find out he wouldn't be walking me down the aisle. In his eyes, I'm taking away one of the most important parts of the day. Apparently, a first dance with my father isn't enough. My dad keeps going back to the point of, we've never treated you as property, why would you say that? He's also trying to say I'm discrediting everything him and my mom have done for me, which to me just feels unrelated. Like, I'm just not a fan of that tradition. I feel like he's been talking to his buddies because the other day he came back to me and said, well, if you want to be independent, then you can pay for it yourself. Which to me still feels like if you're not going to do your wedding the way I want, then I'm not going to pay for it. And that just doesn't feel right to me. So anyways, do we agree that my dad's being a complete jerk right now? Really hoping he comes around because there's no way I can afford this wedding if he doesn't help me with it. So I'm just kind of holding out hope that he'll come through.
Strong and independent until someone has to pay the bills. What you just witnessed is another case of pure feminist brainwashing. Instead of being ungrateful for her father deciding to pay for everything, she decided to use this opportunity to make a political statement about the patriarchy and accuse marriage of being a toxic tradition. I honestly can't fathom how ungrateful of a person you need to be to deny your father's wish of walking you down the aisle because it's misogynistic. This is clearly a woman who has absolutely no idea how much things cost. She's more than happy to let daddy pay for everything without any consideration towards how he feels in the entire situation. Modern women constantly bite the hand that feeds them. It's incredibly bizarre to me how ideologically possessed these women are. Your father offers to pay, and you punish him for it. Feminism is doing this to women, and on this channel, I talk about how harmful feminism is and how it basically destroys families. And this is a great example of that. The sheer lack of empathy is astounding, but this is unsurprising. This society does not care about a man's feelings. This society demands that men pay for everything and produce things as long as they shut up about it. In a way, this woman is a perfect case study for everything wrong with women in Western society today. But before we go any further, let me share the comment of the day. Shout out to Kiwia, who said, "As a male, I just love feminism. I just think of all the men it saved from being degraded. Thank you, ladies." That was a good one. You honestly had us in the first half. So please, don't forget to reach out to my email to claim your $5. As always, guys, I'll pick one comment from each video. It might be the funniest, the most liked, or the one that really moved me, so don't forget to leave a comment, and you may be our next winner. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons too, as it helps the channel a lot. So now, let's get back to the video.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever.
She's strong and independent, but more than happy to let her dad pay for everything. She criticizes the bride being walked down the aisle as some misogynistic practice, but she's totally okay with the bride's father paying for the wedding, which she could also make the argument is a misogynistic practice. She can't break one part of tradition and then adhere to another part. You can apply this logic to so many things, yet women only do it when it isn't convenient for them. Dads paying for their daughters' weddings are also based on old-fashioned, so-called sexist traditions. But what is her outrage about that? Even the dress and ring are based on old-fashioned and arguably misogynistic traditions. Yet, brides rarely have a problem with that. If it's about the concept, keep it consistent at least, not only when it's beneficial. This is what the whole independent women movement is about. They don't want equality, they want complete power and control over everything. They want everything to go exactly their way. All the privileges and benefits, none of the sacrifices. This is the kind of woman this society is churning out like a factory assembly line. Difficult, combative, broken, competitive, argumentative, and ideologically possessed. Now, in this story, her future husband decided to stay quiet on social media, which is probably a good idea. But I can almost picture him in my mind. He's a simpy, wimpy, people-pleasing beta nice guy who has never stood up to her once and lets her do anything she wants. Trust me when I say that this guy is in deep trouble if he decides to get married to her. They say you can judge a woman's relationship to masculinity by how she treats her father. And by that metric alone, we can determine that she will attempt to crush and emasculate any man in her path. Her future husband will end up a squeaking little mouse within a year. He'll be lucky to even have his own bank account by the end. It's disgusting to see the potential of a man wasted on a woman like this. And it's not even as if she's a solid 10 or anything. She's a mid-tier woman at best. Why do you think she's painting her face with makeup like a clown? But this is what modern society has done to women. It's convinced them that they have more value on the dating market than they actually do. We have Instagram simps sliding into DMs and OnlyFans to thank for that. And if you consider that a woman's best years are between the ages of 18 to 24, this woman will even go downhill from here. She's already only a solid 5. Imagine what she will be like at 35, along with the fool who's married to her. It's not a pretty sight. The entitlement of modern women is fully on display here. She thinks she's entitled to her father's money without having to make any kind of sacrifices or consider his perspective in any way. This is the attitude of a bratty teenager. But this is classic feminist dogma. Feminism really is like a bratty teenager getting angry at daddy because he didn't buy the kind of shoes she wanted. Modern women want all of the benefits and privileges of being a woman without having to do anything. This is the kind of woman who is terribly prepared for reality. If you want your dad to pay for everything, the price of that is you honor tradition and consider your father's feelings. I don't know how resentful and bitter of a person you need to be to not consider your father in all of this. Yes, it's your wedding, but it's also an opportunity to give your father a beautiful moment he's been excited about since you were a child. But no, this wedding needs to be all about her. Any compromise or sacrifice is off the table because that would be the patriarchy's fault again. This lack of gratitude and sheer entitlement is characteristic of modern women today.
All right, Dahlia, how can I help you?
I got these flowers like 3 days ago. And the person who gave them to me just gave them like this.
So what's wrong with giving you flowers like that?
No vase, no water, no flower food. Just this.
Hold on. Are you serious?
It just seems like a little half-assed,
No. If a guy gets you flowers, he's not thinking about a vase and flower food unless he's a goddamn florist or something. I mean, like, why don't you have a vase? Doesn't that say more about you?
I'm taking him to work because I have a vase at work and I just remembered today.
Okay, Dahlia, what's your overall message here?
Bring the vase, guys. Just simply bring the vase.
Modern women view our entire history as nothing more than thousands of years of men oppressing women. It doesn't matter that billions of men have died to protect women. It doesn't matter that countless men thanklessly die every year to keep the infrastructure of society running. The sacrifices of men for women are completely forgotten about. To these women, all men are tyrannical, oppressive, patriarchal dictators who want to enslave women. It's disgusting to see how ungrateful modern women have become. Imagine having such a warped view of history that it causes you to resent your own father for existing and pushing him away because of your narcissistic need to be seen as strong and independent. Well, guess what? Independence comes with a price, and most women refuse to pay it. Modern women are standing at the equality buffet. They want all the privileges of being a woman and the respect that comes from being a hard-working man, but without putting in any work or accepting any of the sacrifice. This is textbook immaturity. But the story doesn't end there. Her father joined TikTok in order to address the video his daughter made. This was his perspective.
My daughter just found out that I'm not paying for her wedding anymore. Now, I raised her to be an independent thinker, and she's going to come at me with some brainwashed bull crap, all right? And I don't know where I went wrong. So let me tell you what happened. One afternoon, I'm listening to my daughter discuss wedding plans with her mother, not because I wanted to, but because they were talking in the kitchen and I needed another beer. I hear my wife explain to my daughter that she's going to try not to cry when I walk her down the aisle. My daughter stopped her dead in her tracks, stating that she wasn't property. My wife did her best to hide her devastation. One of the most important roles of my life taken away from me. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is a real smack in the face with everything that we've done for her, coupled with the fact that we've never treated her like she's property. A couple days later, I'm out blowing off some steam with my buddies, and you know what? Kevin says, you know, she's so independent, why don't you just make her pay for it herself? He started to apologize, and I was like, no, you know what? That's a really good idea. It's not about making her do what I want her to do, okay? It's about making her realize the effect that she has on the people around her and how her selfishness, if your selfishness is going to cause pain, then it's going to have to limit my generosity. Now, this might make me the asshole, but I'm okay with that. I just hope she comes around, all right, and thinks it through. Okay, traditions are important.
You can just tell from this video that he's a good father and a good man. You can also tell how hurt he is by this. Although he does a good job of hiding it, and it makes sense. Can you imagine raising your daughter for 19 years just so she can pull this kind of stunt? Unimaginable. But I'm afraid to say it gets worse. This man did the right thing by refusing to play her game. If she wants to be strong and independent, then she can apply that to her finances and pay for everything herself. A strong and independent woman could surely pay for her own wedding. You can't argue with this logic. But as I always say on this channel, accountability and responsibility are the kryptonite of modern women. This is how she reacted to him pulling the funding from his little princess.
My daughter has uninvited me to her wedding and gone no contact, okay, because I decided that I wasn't going to pay for it since she wouldn't let me walk her down the aisle and give her away. Now, you may have seen her viral video, or you may have seen my viral video, explaining that she's decided she's not going to be given away as property. Now, while I'm being cut off completely, some major wedding retailer has decided that they're going to sponsor for and pay for her wedding. Now, I raised her to be a strong, independent, and kind woman who loves to read. And that last one is important. She's never really been a daddy's girl, and that's okay. Now, thanks to this new trend of going no contact with a parent when you're unhappy with their decision, I have to get all of her wedding plans from posts that she's put online. Yesterday, she said that instead of wedding rings, they're going to do tattoos on their fingers. And since my future son-in-law is so into barbecue, instead of having a wedding cake and cutting the cake, they're going to smoke a brisket and cut the brisket. You know what? Uninvited to the wedding, I can handle. Uninvited to brisket, this is war. I can't wait for her fiance to see how much money she spends on makeup. Anyways, I could use some good news. My buddy Kevin says that he's got some for me, so I'm going to go hang out with him for a while. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments.
The daughter has uninvited her own father to the wedding and cut contact with him because he refuses to pay. To be fair, I expected this result. The sheer entitlement of his daughter is shocking. This is exactly the kind of thing you can expect from modern women. Did you honestly think she was going to self-reflect? This is a good man doing the right thing, and he's been punished for it. And this is how good men are treated today. This society immediately looks at men with suspicion as if they're the guilty ones in almost every situation. I guarantee you the internet was completely furious that he chose not to pay. Society has become one giant playground where no woman is held accountable to their actions anymore. The story gets even more ridiculous. Whenever there's some viral, politicized drama flying around the internet, you can always count on greedy corporations to try to get in on the action. And that's exactly what happened. Now, some major wedding retailer has jumped in to fund the wedding. This wedding retailer is all about empowering strong and independent women. At least that's what they say. But the reality is they just saw the opportunity for some TikTok views and jumped on it. Absolutely typical. If society has any type of surviving, people need to stop indulging this type of bad behavior. The wedding retailer paying for her wedding is enabling this kind of woke, bratty, self-entitled, and spiteful behavior. The funny thing about this is it's completely hypocritical. If a retailer is sponsoring her wedding, she is indeed now property. This is feminism. Being a slave to a corporation is okay, but honoring your commitments to your family and being a kind person to them is oppression. You can't make this stuff up. The feminists have reached a whole new level of confusion. One thing we haven't really discussed yet is her age. She's 19 years old and she's already drunk so much of the feminist Kool-Aid that she's basically damaged goods at this point. I have basically no hope that her marriage will last very long. If her dad is upset that he can't walk her down the aisle, I wouldn't worry about it. He'll probably have plenty more opportunities down the road, especially if this is how her first marriage is starting. As we know, when a woman divorces a man, she's far more likely to become a repeat offender and divorce again. It's like it becomes an addiction. The truth is, when you're accustomed to being protected, equality feels like oppression. She wanted to be seen as strong and independent by everybody, but she didn't stop to think about what responsibilities that would entail. She never had any idea how protected and provided for she was. This was until reality gave her something to think about. She had the opportunity to learn a valuable lesson, but this wedding retailer showing up to pay for everything completely ruined the opportunity for her to self-reflect, if she was ever going to in the first place. But let's play devil's advocate. Sure, this tradition originated from giving the bride away, but nowadays it has nothing to do with them. These days, it's just a harmless way for parents to be involved in the ceremony and be there for their child. If she doesn't want him to walk her down the aisle because she's an independent adult, then she can also pay for her own wedding like an independent adult. Walking your daughter down the aisle isn't about giving her away as property, it's about giving approval for another man to be there to support her and care for her in your place. She's not property, but the dad is not just a bank account either. But obviously, she's not going to do this, especially with the wedding retailer. I suspect that her entire marriage from this point onwards, however long it lasts, will be nothing but her husband paying for everything. She's strong and independent, but I guarantee you she will never make the kind of income that will sustain the lifestyle that she's used to from daddy's credit card. This is what this poor sucker has married into. Expect the MGTOW community to gain another member in a few months when it all comes crashing down. To any man who hopes to get into a healthy relationship with a modern woman, there's really only one thing you can say. Don't. The fact is, the majority of women in Western influenced countries are broken beyond repair. If you decide that you want to embody a few traditional values, which would be a good idea, you can expect serious blowback and resistance. It's too much of a headache for not enough reward. The best options you have at your disposal are either to walk away and refuse to play completely, or grab your passport and fly to a country where feminism hasn't completely taken over yet. There are still good women out there. You just need to be extremely intentional with where you look for them and what to look for. As always, I wish you tremendous success. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Remember that if you leave the best comment, you'll get $5. Thank you so much for watching. If you found value in this video, hit the like and subscribe buttons, ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on future uploads, drop a comment, and share it. See you in the next video. Till next time.